that they are live this time?
They are live. We are live. I see the audio is working.
Or is it?
Oh, it is.
All right, give me a couple seconds of silence, and then when Devon gives the go-ahead, we'll hit it up.
Hello, darkness, my old
Silence.
friend.
Not going to do it. Just going to keep going with that.
I come to talk
Shut
with
up.
you again.
Welcome to the weekly episode of the Freelancer Codex podcast. Your host, Steven, and co-hosts Mike, Devon, and JD are all set. Join us and tweet your questions at Freelancer Codex. Find us on Facebook at Freelancer Codex, or send emails to freelancercodex@gmail.com. Strap into your javelins and let's drop in.
Welcome, freelancers, to episode 113 of the Freelancer Codex podcast. I am your host, Steve, along with my three co-hosts, Michael, Devon, and JD. We are back here in the year of 2020, getting ready to kick off the second year of Anthem. So, I mean that's pretty exciting. I mean, we have, before Anthem released, we always talked about the potential of Anthem. And then Anthem released, and now we're still talking about the potential of Anthem 2.0 and what that means for the game. And I guess we can do like a retrospective. I don't want to do a retrospective. We've talked about the game a lot. But I am kind of excited to see where everything goes from here. Because right now it does feel like that time before the game is released, because we don't know what exactly is going to happen. I feel like we have a skeleton of a game that the developers have a chance to pick off the muscles that they don't want, put on the muscles that they do want, and get this skeleton up and moving around.
True.
Hopefully the bones and everything that controls Anthem has been fixed. We have speculated a lot that there were some issues with things like back-end coding that would not allow for quick changes, whether that was through the inscription system that we haven't seen a lot of updates to, or just to the overall loot system in general. So hopefully those are things that they're working on, things that they can change. There has been a lot of speculation on places like the EA forums and places on the Reddit that people are saying, hey, this thing's going to come out at the end of this quarter. So EA has a fiscal quarter that, like, currently we'll be finishing up fiscal quarter number 3 in January, and then we'll move on to fiscal quarter 4 of 2019. So sometimes when people talk about the quarters of the year, they don't necessarily correlate with EA's quarters. But a lot of people have been saying at the end of this first quarter of 2020, what the way that every other person thinks of quarters, that they think that 2.0 is going to drop. And I don't know, like, if maybe I missed something that someone has said that, yeah, this is pretty likely that things are going to drop here.
That's wishful thinking. To me, that's wishful thinking. So it's not enough time to fix everything that they need to fix. I mean, BioWare's been pretty awesome developer in the past, but I mean they need a lot of time to basically remake the game. So,
I mean, and we can speculate that even if they started the idea of 2.0, because that's how, I mean, once a game gets shipped and launched, you know, that team gets split up to, okay, you're going to be working on, you know, fixing bugs, you're going to be working on what's next, and you're going to be working on the next big thing. So there is a chance that at, you know, February of last year, almost a year ago, there was a group or a small team that said, hey, you're working on what's next. So even if it did start back then, I still don't think, you know, 1 year is enough time to get us to where we need to be with the amount of issues that we were having with disconnections. You know, we're having optimization issues with frame rate. I mean, it's pretty rare. Like, you know, in free play, it's tough to even get above 70 frames when you have everything on ultra, even with like the rig that I have, which is a pretty powerful rig. So there's things like that they could be working on. You know, where does the story go? So it's going to be, I'm interested to see where everything goes this year, and I'm excited to see where it goes, because at least there's new opportunities to see new things. But yeah, there's no way that 2.0 releases anytime until after EA Play this year.
Well, and you got to think that they would hopefully do, you know, testing before 2.0. So,
Oh, sorry.
I mean, they've done testing.
PTS specifically.
Yeah, PTS specifically, and to test out features, make sure that things are working the way they want them to, and just, I mean, they've already used it twice, 2 or 3 times, so why not use it again, right? Make PTS use it. People want to play. Obviously, it's a lot harder to do that on consoles because of the certification process. So it is difficult, for the console players to play the game. I mean, it's really demanding, and you can obviously tell by the way it plays on the current gen consoles. Even on like the mid-gen refreshes, it plays pretty good, but it's nowhere near what it is on the PC. And we still don't have a really important feature, which I think any multi-plat game should launch with. Now that Sony is no longer blocking people, which is crossplay. So, I'm hopeful for that to be in there in 2.0. But
Devin likes the crossplay.
I do. I love crossplay. Crossplay is amazing. It works great in a lot of games.
And at the very least, I would like to see like Crosssave, because as somebody who's just been waiting for the opportunity and has slowly been saving up to build a PC so I can, join the PC Master Race once again. I've made so much progress in Anthem at this point that
It's hard,
the thought of, like if I finally get over to PC, it's like I'm losing all my cosmetics, I'm losing all my gear, I'm losing everything. It's it'd be a full start over. Over a year into the game. So I would love to get cross save more than I would like crossplay at the moment.
And you can't get that gear. I mean, there's no way that you'd be able to get the exact same gear because of infusions.
The rotating store.
So,
yeah, it's
even without the store, it's just like the gear that you have. There's no way to get that exact same piece again. I mean, I haven't ever gotten 2 of the exact same pieces of gear. There's one that's been close, but
all my builds gone.
But not that the builds matter right now, anyways. But
yes.
And I think that's one of the things that hopefully that will be addressed. Also, I mean, this is just pure speculation. We know new consoles come out this year. It would seem silly to put out, we know that they, in one way or another, in one form or fashion, Anthem has to come to the new Xbox and to the new PlayStation. So to do all the work now to put out 2.0 and then have to do it again at the launch of new consoles doesn't seem like a good a good usage of time, especially when they can take that extra several months to continue to polish and iterate. Anyway, that's all speculation. That's what we do here on the show. But
what if they
I'm
didn't
excited to see
support
what
current
happens.
gen consoles anymore, except for this is like the craziest idea. If they only supported mid-gen refresh forward, right? Like
that is a crazy idea, because right now, I mean,
you
how
can
would they...
you can play on the original Xbox, you can play on PlayStation 4. But at some point, I mean, eventually games are going to have to stop supporting those consoles because it's just going to hold things back a lot.
And this might be like open up into another conversation when we talk about, everything they're talking about with the new Xbox Series X, that they're not going to have exclusives for that console because they want people to still be able to play on the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X for about a year or 2 years out.
Yep.
Just because Xbox, either because they're scared of the amount of units they have in the wild. So by making all the games that come out compatible with the S, the X, and the Series X, that gives them more opportunity to sell games.
Yeah.
But if they were just,
I don't mind it for the first year.
I mean, if they were to just drop it.
cross platform or cross gen, I think is perfectly fine for the first year or so. I mean, third party usually keeps it up for 2 or 3 years, especially for the big, like FIFA.
It's a long
Call
time to
of
keep it
Duty.
up too.
It's true.
Usually,
I mean, if
after
you
4
it's
hours,
that long,
you
it's
have to
definitely a
call it out.
problem. But,
I was waiting. I knew it was coming.
But
honestly, no.
But no, I mean, it's definitely eventually. What are they gonna do, right? At some point, they have to say, "Hey, all right, we're gonna support only this version and up." Like if you have a mid-gen refresh with better GPU to be able to handle more stuff. But I think that's still like over, 2021. Is when I think end of 2021 is when we'll start hearing games where they're like, "Oh no, we're not supporting last gen anymore." Even like because you talked about Sony where they're doing some of that stuff, but anyways, that's not what this podcast is about. But
No, no, it'll definitely be interesting. So we do have 141 days until EA Play, which
Did
is
they already
I'm
announce the
guessing.
date for it?
I mean, EA Play is always the first week of June.
Yeah, but
So
what if they change their mind? If they don't want to be out
I
in
don't
LA, they change a
if
different
they don't want
place,
to be
different
right in the
time.
same week as E3, no, I don't think they're going to do it. I mean, they could pull a Sony and they could pull out, but I don't think EA is going to do that.
I mean, I hope they put it in a different location, but I don't know where they would put
like
it if
not
they're
at the
still in.
Palisades.
Yeah, no, that place is really small.
They
and
could go to the Anaheim Convention Center.
I would like that a lot.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's many places they could go that would get you off of that hot black tar, asphalt that they have out there that is just makes it miserable unless you get into the media center.
I'd say this is somebody who lived in Los Angeles and still kind of loves Los Angeles. I would just like to get it out of Hollywood. That place is too chaotic on a daily basis to have an event like that there.
Well, I think they should move E3 to Vegas anyways. So
You want to move E3 to Vegas?
That's not the
because
worst
they
idea,
actually
I
have
believe.
much bigger convention area space for like all of E3. So I mean, if you look at just numbers alone, like they only had like 66,000 people at E3 last year. That's 66,000. That's a lot, right? But then if you look at like Gamescom, they had over 300,000 people come to Gamescom because they have so much more space. Walking into E3, it's like you're slammed in there with just everybody shoving into these small areas trying to play at 10 or 12, maybe 20 if you're lucky, game stations, and you're waiting for hours on end just to try and play a 10-minute demo, and which is cool enough. You've never been before. It's exciting to go first time, but after the first day, you're just like, I'm just going to stand in line for 2 more days on cement and hope I can get in to do something. It's just not consumer friendly with the amount of space that they have. So,
yeah. Anyway, so I thought I saw phantom noises. I saw phantom noises out of the corner of my nose.
I saw.
So there's 141 days till EA Play. That's probably the next time we'll hear something about it. We are coming up, like in 1 month, we'll be at the 1-year anniversary of Anthem, which is kind of exciting, right? It came out on the 22nd. Official launch was the 22nd of February. We got it on the 15th because we had access to the PC version, and we stayed up for like 36 hours playing that thing straight.
Yeah, we
Graphics
did.
Cards. It was a good time.
Well,
So it was a long time
Steven
ago.
didn't get to play as long as Mike and I did, but
No, because at work, you guys were like, I'll just take the day off. Which, I mean, like, you guys, that's jealous? Yes, all right. But I think we got our time in. So kind of funny thing, like I've logged in over like 300 hours on Anthem, right? And so a lot of people like, oh wow, that's a lot of time playing Anthem. So I've been cruising on the forums and EA Play, Reddit, or not EA Play, but the EA forums, and talking to a lot of people that are like, yeah, I have like 2,400 hours in Anthem.
What?
And at first you're like, that can't be right. But I give people the benefit of the doubt, right? I try to anyway. That's a lot of time.
That's over
Like
40
some other
hours a
people said
week.
They have like, yeah, that's a lot of time. So congratulations to those people. I mean, these are probably the people that are at the top of the leaderboard. So I mean, I'm glad that people are enjoying the game. I'm glad people like have that amount of passion for Anthem, because that's pretty awesome. So congratulations to those people. All right, so let's do some quick housekeeping here, real quick. You can call and leave us a message at 505-386-7917. We'll play that on the show if it's appropriate. If it's not, then we'll just save it and we'll laugh at it off the show, or play it before. If you want to support us, since we've been doing this for so long, you can do that at patreon.com/freelancercodex. You can support us there. All patron members will get access to the pre-show recording that we do, where we talk about random stuff. Today we had a discussion about robots in professional sports leagues. That was super exciting. So you can, catch that. I mean, you chip in $1, right? Chip in $1 and you're good to go. So Umbrella Ops says, I'm sure he won't mind me saying, but Chaos Prime is dead set on thinking they announced 2.0 at EA Play. I think it'll be much sooner. So I mean, we've been speculating that's when we'll hear.
That's when they'll announce it. I agree.
2.0. My frame of thought right now is, as much as I would love new stuff, I would much rather them go the CD Projekt Red route right now
Delay.
and just delay it until it's perfect, right? Because there's no way that BioWare can release Anthem 2.0 in not a close to perfect state after the launch that we had with 1.0. Then you just lose all credibility, right? Like, fool me once, something, fool me twice, and have a biscuit. So they've got to do what they need to get everything almost perfect. So take the time. Like, even if they announce in June and it doesn't come out till September, I mean, that would be a bad time because then you're up against
September is
Cyberpunk.
not good. Cyberpunk,
September.
new Marvel Avengers game. Yeah, September.
Yeah, but there's not a good time after EA Play, right? And at some point, you just have to release it, and you just have to hope that, you know what, we don't know the model, we don't know if it's going to be, hey, you have to pay for the game, not December. So we don't know what model they're going to take, whether it's going to be free to play, whether it's going to be a brand new launcher. We don't know a lot of that stuff, so it's hard to say, like, hey, how is this going to affect it? But no matter what you do, you start getting into the holiday season. You know, we're talking about Final Fantasy VII. We're talking about Cyberpunk. There's new Call of Duty, probably the new Assassin's Creed, right? It's just going to be overrun. So,
yeah,
I mean,
end of this year is a tough place to be.
Yeah. So at this point, do what you need to make that launch solid, to make the game, you know, we don't have those login bugs that we had the first time. We don't have the disconnect issues that, you know, we ran into. And then hope that the people that are passionate about your game will continue to play it, and then via word of mouth, people start coming back to Anthem.
Yeah.
You know, and that's really what we can hope for, and that's what the community can do to get people back in, because there is a decent amount of people that still support the game and still play the game, that you have to give those people that support you have to give them a good product. Because right now we're just basing it all on, well, they can do this, we hope they'll do this, right? And if they fail at that and release it too early just because they want to get something out, then, you know, then what's the point? So
yeah, well, I mean, they're in a tough spot because, I mean, I think August is the optimal time for them to release it, especially now because, you know, 2 big games got pushed to September. And really, like you said, after that, it's just new games, new consoles, and, you know, if they don't get it out before then, then, I mean, it's going to just get pushed to the side by everything else. And, you know, I don't know. I really don't. It's a tough place to be in, but, I mean, they've released stuff in the past at tough times, you know. But, I mean, this has to be a big, shining, you know, they have to announce it ahead of time. They can't just drop it.
Yeah.
They can't do the just 2.0 is out today, guys. You know.
Yeah, that won't work. They can't do the show don't
work.
tell thing with something that big. So
it really feels. I know we said this already, but it really feels like we are back to before the launch of, like, the original launch of Anthem, because it's the same thing. It's the, like, there's already a lot of attention, like, regardless of what they put out next, or how much they put out next, or the way in which they go about it, there are going to be a lot of eyes on it. Only to see, like, is it going to be another, to use the more toxic side's terms, another dumpster fire, or is it going to be a redemption story? Like, I don't think Anthem is a dumpster fire in its current shape. I do think that it has a multitude of problems, but it has a lot of good points as well. But it like Devon was saying, it's got to be in the best shape possible when it releases. Otherwise, it is just going to fan those same flames, and it can't be just okay. It needs to be great to properly combat the criticism and the flack that it is guaranteed to get once it gets.
But I don't think you want to fight that battle, JD, because at some point it's like, what's the point of fighting that battle, right?
I'm not saying
the detractors will always be there.
Like, the whole thing is that, look, what's the old adage about, like,
2 birds in a stone are worth more than 1 in the foot.
if you want peace, prepare for war or something like that. Where it's like, I'm not saying that they gotta like go out there and like fight all the negative press or anything, but they need to have a solid wall to defend themselves with. That's it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying they gotta, put the dukes up or anything like that. They just have to be sturdy enough to take what is inevitably going to come. Because there are going to be some people that are going to try to continue that narrative that it's still terrible. Just because there is that anti EA diatribe that is present in the games industry. That there's always going to be that group that thinks it's bad just because it's EA, but there's also going to be that gets added to when it is actually bad. So
it's true, but yeah, no, I mean, it's going to be there, and they're going to do. I think they've been heading in the right direction with the good stuff that they've been doing. And yes, it's filler for now, as Umbrella Ops is saying, like, yeah, these events are filler, and that's fine. We understand because we're waiting for 2.0. So, but I just hope, I really don't think they're going to announce it before EA Play. They need the time to really make it. But I think they could announce it, say in June, and then have a public beta, on consoles as well, in July, and then release in mid to end of August. Let's give them at least a couple weeks, before the new Marvel game comes out, and then almost a month, before Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, that's their job.
Yeah, their job, not ours. All right, so go give us a follow on Patreon, get access to the cool stuff. Let's get into the news. We have a couple news things that we want to read. So on the 9th, we got a update on the progress reset compensation because the tip of the iceberg stuff was not tracking correctly. They tried to fix it. It stopped progress. They had to reset it to get it going. So Mike, will you take us through the update that the Anthem community team hit us with, and then we'll talk about these things?
Hey everyone, we hope you all had a great holiday. We're back in the office here at BioWare, and we wanted to drop an update for you on the challenge tracking issues that we ran into at the beginning of Icetide. For those unaware, back at the beginning of the season, there was an issue. The word is issue. I'm going to try that again.
That was
For those
a Winnie the Pooh reference.
It was Winnie the Pooh. For those unaware, back at the beginning of the season, there was an issue that prevented everyone from gaining progress, specifically in the tip of the iceberg challenges. While we had a fix for it that worked, we solved the original issue. It unfortunately had an unforeseen side effect that caused everyone with existing progress not to be able to gain any at all. In order to fix this, we made the decision to reset everyone's progress so that everyone could correctly gain progress again. After discussing the right course of action, we want to alleviate some of the frustrations that you may have experienced. Due to original progress lost, as well as the time invested that was made by many of you before the challenge reset, shortly after this post, we will begin granting everyone who has logged in since the Icetide update until now for 20,000 seasonal crystals. 20,000 seasonal crystals. When we know for sure that the grant is live, we will also leave an edited note on this post saying it has been applied. Note, you may have to log out of the game and back in to see the crystals grant. Additionally, we want to address some of the other questions the community has been asking since the start of Icetide. Tyrant Mine. As many of you have brought up, we have not yet added Tyrant Mine to the seasonal Icetide challenge rotation yet. This is due to an issue we saw in testing that we did not feel confident in releasing until it was addressed. The good news is the issue has been fixed, and you will see Tyrant Mine in the Icetide seasonal stronghold rotation soon. Armor sets. Just to let you know, we do have plans for new armor sets in this season. Those will come later in the event following an upcoming patch. Thank you all for playing Icetide. As usual, we'd love to know your thoughts on the game, so feel free to share your feedback with us here. It's always appreciated. Anthem Community Team.
Hey, Mike, do you have a two times speed? Do you have like a 2x speed?
No, he does not.
For all the audio listeners, Michael just flipped me the bird. He gave the he
So
flipped
I
up the
think
bird.
the thoughts on the compensation.
Can I make? Let me make a couple of comments real quick on things that they've updated. So compensation has not fully been released to everyone. There are still people that have not received it. They said that they are still working on it, that it's taking them a while. I don't know why it's taking them this long to release it. I got mine day one. I don't know if you guys got yours, but I was able to. You got yours today?
Yeah, because I was like, I was reading through the notes again, and I was like, because I was playing yesterday, and there was nothing there, and so I was like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to get those, and I logged back in today, and they were there today. So I was like, wow, that took a while.
So it's really interesting that it is taking this long. I don't know if they have to like do it manually, if they're going through like everyone that had played just by everyone that logged in recently. That seems really weird if they're doing it that way. But maybe they're doing it alphabetically. But I'm under F, so I don't know why they would. I got mine like as soon as this thing went live, so that's kind of weird. So that there is an update that they're still working on it. If you don't have it yet, be patient, I guess. I mean, in all honesty, it's 20K crystals. Like, it's nothing to write home about.
It's still, if you don't have it, though, like, I remember reading over this again before today, and I was like, what? I don't have my crystals yet, because I had forgotten about them. And then I was reading it, and I got pissed off for a second. I was like, I don't have my crystals yet. What the crap?
So why did you get mad then?
Because I thought, surely it can't be taking this long to get it done, so somehow I didn't get counted, and I'm not getting those crystals. That's what I thought, honestly. I was like, what the crap? I'm not getting them. I was like, I've played multiple times before, they talked about this. I did runs for every stronghold so far, and I'm just like, what? So I was just like, in that moment, I was just upset because I was like, I just played yesterday, and I still don't have those 20,000 crystals. It's not a huge deal, right? You're saying it's not a huge deal, and it's really not, but still, when you're supposed to be compensated for something, and then you feel like, well, I'm not getting compensated, am I getting screwed again? But at the same time, I didn't feel like I was getting screwed before because I hadn't gone super hard into the expansion yet, so I don't know, it was a weird feeling. I felt upset for like half a minute, and then I got over it.
Mike, is that just like the negative Yelp review, like knee-jerk reaction Devon's having here? I mean, do you have your crystals, and do you care if you even have 20K crystals? Because it's only 20K crystals.
I apologize. I don't know if I have my crystals or not. I haven't even checked. I've been playing. I remember reading this post when it came out, and I'm like, okay, 20,000 crystals, but I haven't. It hasn't been an issue for me, and I honestly couldn't tell you if I have them or not.
Just because you don't even check, like you don't even spend your crystals?
I don't, because I don't go to the store. I think I've been burned by the chest, and so now I have a bitter taste in my mouth from that. I mean, it's not gonna make me comb my beard on live TV or anything, but it still just makes me a little upset that happens.
That people comb their beard on live TV. That makes you.
No, that I don't have my crystals. I don't know why that exact reference popped in my head, but it just sounds like something like, man, I'm so angry that I'm gonna comb my beard on live TV. I don't know. Maybe that's just the way my mind thinks in my non 2x speed.
All right.
So you said that very quickly, Michael. I appreciate it for those of us that listen and talking 2x speed all the time. So the crystal issue is really weird. Okay, and it's a hard issue because first of all, there's a lot of people that got a lot of time reset. People that put in the time to do the strongholds, to do the races, to do all of the world events, and they got that time reset. I was not one of those people. I did not start my challenge until after everything was fine, luckily. Right. So I don't feel like I needed compensation. But for those people that did get a reset, like 20K is kind of a slap in the face, I think. But then again, they can't just individually reward people crystals. So they have to do something that would make sense across the board, right? because
Mhm.
you can't reward everyone 100,000 crystals. I mean, you could, and people would, get a bunch of legendaries and end up deleting 90% of them. But still, it's like, well, you can't reward me 100,000 crystals, and then you can't reward like Phaedron, who did a ton of this stuff. You can't reward him. I mean, he would want 100,000 crystals, but even then, it's like 20,000 crystals is maybe three. It's probably three GM2 runs, two GM1 runs, so it's not a lot, right? You can accumulate that super fast. Like you're supposed to do 20 to get the armor at the end of the tip of the iceberg, like level 2. And I think I have like over 90,000 crystals because, like Mike, I'm not even spending them because I just don't care to. I don't want to go through the frustration of opening 10 boxes and then just deleting them all because none of them will apply to the build that I want. So I'm just like I'm fine being at level 940. Everything that I have works for me. My build is fine. I can do the content. Like it's probably just a waste that I'm not going to use any of those crystals, but it's also like I really don't care to go through the process of searching for something that's maybe 20% better or gives me an extra Steam vent that has an extra charge on it, right? Because that will just frustrate me.
So I mean, obviously I'll spend the crystals when I get them because what else are you gonna do with them? And I'll spend them before the end of Icetide because they're not gonna stay around. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'm hoarding crystals because I want to try to just open a bunch of boxes at once. I don't know if I'm waiting for something to show up in the store that is not there now. That kind of thing. Like when we tell our kids when we go to Disneyland, don't spend your money on the first day. Wait till the last day to make sure you see everything, kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, I don't feel that drive, and I'm just teasing you, JD. So.
I think part of that too, Mike, is that we don't know what's coming next.
Yeah.
We don't know if there's another event after this. So it's like, does it even matter if we get different gear?
Well, but you know what? I do think that there's another event coming after this, and I think we can assume that there's going to be another event coming after this because this is the what's the word I'm looking for? This is the model that they have. The model? No, I think this is the model.
You mean?
Yeah, this is the seasonal model. But like many other seasonal models, this currency isn't going to translate to the next currency. If I remember right, we lost crystals during
after the first cataclysm.
Yeah. So I mean, so you have to spend them. You can't hoard them. I remember hoarding other stuff in other games and it got to the point where like, do you guys even remember what to do with these things? And we didn't know what to do with them.
So Umbrella asked.
Still probably have like 500.
Yeah, so Umbrella asked what our progress is in the Tip of the Iceberg challenge. So I'm specifically only going for Tip of the Iceberg 2 because that's where you get your cosmetics. And I think I only need 10 more Stronghold runs because I've got 10 already. So I did all the races, I did all the world events. Now I'm doing the Stronghold runs and getting like the notes and completing those challenges will just come with that. So I'm only 10 away from getting the armor, and then I'll go find the 100 beats after that. So I'm actually pretty close. But I've been doing it a little bit every day, and it makes it at least bearable.
So
that's how you have to do it.
As somebody who only started chasing the Tip of the Iceberg challenge in the last week and a half, like, do you have to do? I just have to ask, like, can you just repeat trials, or do you have to do each individual one?
No, you can repeat the same one over and over again.
Oh, okay.
So if you like go to the Emerald, I did mine in the Emerald Abyss because there's 2 really short trials out there, and over near the Emerald Abyss there's also a coolant event. So while you're flying around doing those trials, you can just pop over and do the world event when that thing pops up, and that's an easy way to do it. That's where I got my gold. So that's an easy place to do it. I think there's a shorter race somewhere else that's even shorter than that. I think it's only like maybe less than a minute, but that's where I did mine. But yeah, 40 coolant missions. That's pretty rough. You turn on Netflix and you watch a movie and you just set it on farm and you just gotta go. Otherwise, it's kind of brutal. But yeah, I mean, it's if you do it a little bit at a time, if you eat that elephant one bite at a time, it makes it a lot easier. Because we're, I think, almost like 18, 19 days away till the end. So if you don't start it now, you're going to get to the point where you're like, oh, I don't have enough time to do this. So
Yeah, for me, I'm not even really kind of chasing it. I'm just playing and just having a good time. I wasn't really too, concerned right now. I mean, I like the armor; it looks cool, but
it's not the coolest looking armor.
No, it's not. It's definitely not the coolest, and I don't really care about any other armor besides interceptor armor. So, because that's all I use. So, it's tough when That's also why I really liked this week's story, because it was about an interceptor, and so I don't know.
Yeah. So and again, like, to get back to the update. So the Tyrant Mine, like, as I predicted, the thing's broken and they had to fix it, and that's why we had not seen it yet. That should be coming back around. So everyone that's excited to go back into the Tyrant Mine, personally my favorite stronghold. So it'll be interesting to see what puzzles they add in there that you have to step on blocks or do matching games or whatever. It'll be interesting to see what that is.
I mean, if it's the exact same as it was in the PTS, it's just the one puzzle that's up in the secret passageways. You fly before the waterfall,
right.
go up top.
Yeah, pull the symbols off the floor and throw them down on the ground.
Yep.
I hope it's not exact. Well, it's probably going to be exactly the same. What are we talking about? So, yeah, so the compensation's coming in. So wait for the compensation. The armor sets are, my guess, again, the armor sets are going to be delayed until the new quarter so that we can have revenue in the new quarter. But that's just my speculation and thinking about that. They're not here yet. We only have like 2 weeks left. So they're going to have to sell them pretty soon unless they just offer all of them at the same time like they did with the Mass Effect armor sets.
Yeah.
So if that's the reason why I really wish that this stuff would have been released at the beginning, because at the beginning of the event, that's when you want to look cool. It like kind of sucks that you're going to look cool at the end of the event, because then it's like, okay, and now we got free play, and then a lot less people are going to be playing because the event's over. But
are you saying you have trust issues, Steven? You have trust?
Yes, I have serious trust issues, and these are like the things that I think about. It's like, when you go down the list of why would they do this, because it'll make them tons of money, because they're one for the Colossus is the coolest looking Colossus set, like,
yeah,
bar none, right? The Ranger looks really cool. The Interceptor and the Storm, not as cool.
Yeah,
but I mean, you can't have the coolest armor all the time. So congratulations to the Colossus for finally having one cool looking set of armor. So yeah, so they're going to make a ton of money off of it, and for them, you put it in another quarter and it looks better on the balance sheet and you're good to go. Like, it sucks for us as players, but then again, maybe we're going to get something in the future. Again, I'm still speculating that we don't get anything just because we haven't heard anything and there's been no talk. There's been nothing about it. I mean, the last time we had an update from the blog, I think was back in May. It's been like 200
last century, man. That was so long ago.
It was the last century, so. All right, so they will be releasing the new armor sets, and they said thank you for playing Icetide, and a couple other things that we had. So JD, you want to read the announcement that Tal made on the Twitter?
Yeah. So Tal Peleg, who was the cinematic animation director, left BioWare. This was a tweet, right?
Yep.
He put out a tweet.
Yes.
Yeah. He goes, "Farewell and thanks for great 4 years." 4 great years at BioWare. Grateful to have animated on MEA, Mass Effect Andromeda, and directed cinematics on Anthem game. A gorgeous IP I will always hold dear to my heart. Special shout out to all the loyal, awesome fans along the way. Here's to a new, exciting adventure. Yeah.
Go ahead, JD.
Oh, I was gonna say I'm really bummed he's leaving. I like the cinematics in Andromeda. I like the cinematics in Anthem. Like, that was one thing about both of those games that I don't feel like were ever really in question in terms of quality. They were probably one of the best parts about both games, and it's sad to lose him. But I do hope that no matter where he goes, that he has like the best of luck. He's a very talented individual.
Yeah, and you should go check out his stuff on talpeleg.com. Like the animations that they have for Owen, I don't know why Owen stands out so much more than every other character. It's probably because he's more animated, like just facial expressions, body, like the way they captured him. Like, I mean, Yeah, it's probably some of the best animation that we've seen in games. I mean, the dude worked on the Uncharted series, and you can see his talent there. And so, best of luck to Tao. You know, we hope that we get to see some of the animations that he's worked on for whatever's next in the future, and that'll be exciting. So, I really liked Tao. He was one of the developers that would, post about playing Anthem on the PlayStation. He was a Dirty Colossus main, so I'm sure he'll be excited.
Oh,
Dirty
But,
Colossus main.
So everyone go send Tal some love, man. Like that guy's got some serious talent, and he ran a team that that the animation and cinematics team was pretty impressive. I really liked all the stuff that they did, even making the stupid Shaper extension cord look like a giant snake for the Emerald Abyss cinematic that we had during Season of Skulls was pretty awesome. I mean, it's hard to make those things look scary, and they made them look scary, so good on them. All right, so real quick, I have a nit to pick or a bone to pick or something like leaderboard clarification. We talked about leaderboards a lot last time. Just because the leaderboards are broken right now and filled with people that are exploiting the game, does not mean that they should just like give up on putting rewards there. Because I really want rewards, cosmetic rewards, put behind the leaderboards, right? Like top 500 people should get some sick armor set. The top 1,000 people should get an armor set that looks kind of sick, but not as sick, and so on until you have like the top 5,000 people. And that way you get people actually playing those for the direct purpose of gaining something. You get more people engaged. Right now, the leaderboard doesn't mean anything because there's nothing attached to it. Like you can be number one and you'll get a shout out on the EA forums. That's cool. 7 people go there. I see the same 7 people all the time every day that I go there. Like I get to know these people, like I know them by name. It's like, hey, I saw this person post. Other than that, it doesn't mean much. Like there is a group of people that they are in a race for that top spot. To those people, number one means a lot. And I'm glad it does. Like even if they are exploiting it, they're in a race against each other to be the best. They're the best at what they do right now, even though what they do is exploiting. That's fine. They're not cheating. It's an exploit in the game. Like if BioWare decides to fix that, then those same people will not get upset and leave the game. Those same people that are vying for spot number one will just find the next best way to do that content.
Yep.
Right? Because that's what those people do. That is their drive for the game, to be on top. They're not cheaters. They're not ruining the experience for everyone else. Like there are some people that are say because they're exploiting and I can't be at the top, it's ruined for me. Those people would still be above you.
Yeah.
Like no question about it. Those people would find the best way, the most efficient way to get the most points on those leaderboards. So like saying that if they stopped exploiting, they wouldn't be there. That's a silly argument. They would be there no matter what because that's what they want. They just want it more. And they found a way to do it. All right. Like if you wanted it that bad, you'd be like, oh, I broke through the wall. If I break through the wall here, I can be the top one. BioWare can choose to fix that stuff in the future. They're not going to do it in 1.0. There's no way that they do it in 1.0. All right. There's not enough. They want to keep the people playing that are playing right now. They can choose to fix the exploits, or people can choose to like get on the same page with them and do them. Hopefully they choose to fix them. I'm sure there will be some exploits that they say it's not worth our time fixing. There will be some exploits like busting through the floor that says, yeah, it's probably worth us fixing this. And if they take the time to do that, fine, that's great. They can do that. But just because it's broken now does not mean we should just like throw the baby out with the bathwater, okay? Leaderboards are a good idea. Let's fix it. Let's put some rewards out with it, and then it'll be a great addition to the game. All right. Let's see. So we had 2 stories that released for our Anthem stuff. So Jay Watamanayuk on the 9th put out his story titled Troublemaker, which follows Freelancer Rife. And it's a really fun story from Jay. Jay's a really talented writer. There's one specific excerpt from this thing that I would like to read because I encourage everyone else to go read the thing in its entirety because it's a lot of fun. All right, so this is from Freelancer Rife. So, slapping her pistol back in place, she pulled out the big guns, which weren't guns at all, but Nelly, an electrified sword. Where the F are our swords already? Like,
it doesn't say
when
that.
Are we gonna get, when are we gonna
End
get
quote.
our sword? Right? I know, like, when we talked to John a long time ago, he said, all right, we're not going to get swords. But you can't keep teasing us with this.
Just
like,
teasing
we
us
need melee weapons in the game. Mike, how bad do you want melee weapons in the game? Especially this is like on a ranger. This is a named sword. It's an electrified sword. Where is this in the game?
I don't think it's in the game, and I don't think it's going to be in the game, and I think you put too much stock in having swords.
You just had the best chance to say, if it's in the game, it's in the game. Set you up. I threw that softball right to you, Mike.
It's in the game.
Yeah.
It's in the game.
You care too much about swords. I think this is kind of the thing where you're thinking about it so much that you're seeing it everywhere. Like you see what you
It's
want
like written there. He wrote it.
They wrote it
He
into
typed
the
the word.
lore.
I mean, yeah, but I think
we
thought
Helena
that
Tyson
melee
had
was going to be a bigger
one.
part of the game, especially like you say, especially for a ranger. But it makes sense for a. So of all the characters, of all the javelin models, you would think that a Colossus and a ranger would be more melee focused. Yet it's the interceptor. So the interceptor gets melee. It gets to ninja kick things faces off and do cool stuff, which I like. It's fun playing the interceptor when I play the interceptor. And it would be cool to have expanded melee weapons that could be used across the 4 javelins. Rangers have shock maces. That's the one I use. I know there's more, but the one I use is the shock mace because I like the electricity. And so you get to throw that down on people, but it is very basic. It's a small stick with a little bit of lightning around it. A sword would be cool. We're already in third person where a sword animation looks cool. It makes sense to have a sword. It makes sense in the realm of the game that, okay, we're building these javelins from scratch. We're using what's around us. Oh, here's a long piece of metal that I can sharpen. It makes sense in the lore of the game, which is why I think it's there. It makes sense to have it in the game. I don't know why it's not there, but like we say on the show, it's not our job to know why. We want swords. Get us swords. So I agree with you, Steve, that there should be swords. They talk about it. Helena had one. It was very front and center in her campaign. We saw her using a sword, so why not let us have a sword? But unfortunately, they're not here, and I don't know if they're going to get here, man.
Maybe 2.0. We can go for 2.0. All right, so then today... You have spoken. This is the way. So today we got another story, and this is from Jeffrey Campbell, and it's called Bountiful Hunt. And here's an excerpt because I think everyone should go read this. This one is really cool. All right. So we know that the manticore is a creature in the game. We've never seen a manticore. All we have ever seen is the pheromone sac of the manticore that we decided to eat for some reason, just to show like, hey, we're pretty awesome too. I'm going to eat this thing. Just because Halleck didn't want to do it, right? The animation where Halleck chomps down on that stinger. Really, yeah. All right. So this is an excerpt from Bountiful Hunt. Description of a manticore. So it was enormous, like 2 Ursics back to back. A cat-like body, long and low, with clawed feet. Sinew tail and thick muscles. There, the similarity to back alley fort cats ended. It had a huge, heavy canine head with massive looping horns and a wide, thin-lipped mouth with multiple arcs of shining teeth. Its slate gray body was covered in alternating rows of shining indigo scales and patchy fur. 5 tiny, glowing pink eyes arranged in a diamond pattern on the front of its head. All 5 were looking right at her. So I really enjoy when they expand on the lore of Anthem outside of things that we've already seen, like knowing that, hey, there's this creature, the manticore. It's a very deadly creature. It killed a ton of people. It destroyed a whole village, took out some sentinels. This is the type of lore that I really enjoy reading about. It just makes everything bigger. There's this lone person flying an interceptor that, I won't spoil it all, but it's a really good read. It's a really fun read. So congrats to Jeffrey being able to write the story. And I'm glad we're getting stories like this because I just want more lore from Anthem. And they touch on, places that we haven't been in the world.
Places and people we don't know. Obviously, the Sentinel in the story knew because he was in the story. But, there's so much. It makes me sad because it's like, oh, why can't we have this in the game? Give us cool missions and experiences like this.
I want to fight that thing.
especially since it's like, hey, we've killed a lot of Ursixes, we killed a lot of Woven. Let's get some Manticars up in here. So, all right. So I think we have hit our 45-minute mark, so we could stop here. Unless JD, you had a topic. Do you want to save it for the next time we record, JD, or do you want to touch on it here?
No, we can save it for the next time we record, or whenever. So,
all right. Yeah, we can save it, and that way we can end it here, and we'll give a lot of people, like, we really appreciate everyone in chat hanging out with us, listening, like our community that has stuck with us for all 113 episodes through, the thick and thin of Anthem, especially now where it's like, what do we have to talk about? We have to talk that we love the game. We know it has flaws. We know it has issues. We know it has potential. At some point, you're like, we know the game has potential, but eventually you have to realize that potential, right? Eventually you have to graduate. Eventually you have to show the real world that potential can be fulfilled. You have a lot of people that, it's like a kid in school. There's a lot of people invested in the success of children, right? We're invested in the success of Anthem. So we're going to offer the feedback. We're going to give it our time. We're going to spend those, 300 hours. It's probably not going to be 2,400 hours like some people, but those are the type of people that are invested, that want this child to learn and to grow and be successful. And we're going to be covering that. We're going to be right here offering the feedback. Sometimes it's going to be harsh feedback, but hopefully people understand that harsh feedback it's there because we care. If we didn't care, we wouldn't offer any feedback. So until next time, freelancers, there's a Shaper Storm on the horizon, and we'll see you on the other side.
Later.
bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. You can find us on Twitter at Freelancer Codex, on Facebook at Freelancer Codex, or through email at freelancercodex@gmail.com. Join the Discord through the link provided at freelancercodex.com. Our show will always be free, but if you'd like to send some support, you may do so at patreon.com/freelancercodex. Our individual Twitter handles are at Stephen Lamson, at mlamson25, at Neverfear, and at JD the Joke Dealer. Freelancers, it's time to get to work.